everyone! So I just got back from Mexico. As you can tell, I'm like extremely tan now. And yeah, it's kind of crazy to have this change of color that's so dramatic on me. I've gotten a lot of requests to make this video. And I just want to give you a fair warning, I am not a pro at making patterns, but this is my method and how I learned how to make a pattern just for a tank top. And the reason why I'm showing you how to make a tank top versus any other pattern is because with a tank top pattern, you can make so many different other patterns just by manipulating it a little bit. There's two things I am going to assume. The first thing is we are going to be working with stretchy knit. So if your measurements aren't 100% accurate, that's kind of okay because knit stretches and it'll hug your body, so you'll be okay with that. Second thing I'm assuming is that we're doing a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance for the beginners. I also want to let you guys know that this is kind of a beginner video, so if you're like a pro, you know how to make your own patterns, or you like my method of making patterns, just don't worry about this video at all. Wait for a next week video or something, because I kind of want to cater to the beginners as well as the more top-notch sewers. Basically, we're just gonna get started. You'll need a large piece of paper for your pattern. I like to use poster boards because they're sturdier and I can keep them for a long period of time. Draw a straight line at the top of the paper. This is going to be the pit of the neck mark, and the edge of the paper will be the center front. The first measurement is measuring the length of your apex from the pit of your neck. Place your ruler on the paper and mark that length on the edge. Next, measure around the apex. By the way, the apex is where your nipples are. Okay, time for some math. Take that measurement and divide it by 4. We only want 1/2 of the front piece. Take that number and plot it horizontally where you have the length from the neck to the apex. Now, back to the neck and down to the waist. Usually, it's the smaller part of your body or where your belly button is. Start from the top line again and mark that length on the edge. Okay, measure your waist and divide it by 4. Take that number and plot it horizontally. Next, from the neck to however long you want the shirt to be. Starting from the top line, mark that measurement on the edge. Also measure around where the shirt will end and divide that by 4. Take that number and plot it horizontally. So you should have 3 plots. One for the bottom of the shirt, one for the waist, and one for the apex. Next, measure from the neck to the top of the bust. It's right almost underneath the armpit. From the top line again, mark that length on the edge. Now measure the top of your bust and divide that number by 4. You're probably tired of this already, but go ahead and mark it horizontally on the paper. From the center of the neck, measure outwards to where the tank top ends. Take that measurement and mark it horizontally at the very top line of the paper. You will connect that dot to the very first line on the edge of the paper to create a neckline. While I'm at it, I'm going to connect the apex to the waist and to the end of the shirt. For the shoulder, you'll draw a line about at a -30 degrees to the top line at the beginning. Connect the apex line to the bust line into the shoulder. For the bottom part of the shirt, it's always a good idea to add about 1 to 2 inch hem allowance at the bottom. You can add a seam allowance on this pattern so it's ready for you to use in the future. I like to use a clear ruler like this to mark my allowances. You don't have to leave an allowance for the bottom of the shirt. Remember, there's already a hem there. Cut everything out and you have a sweet tank top pattern. Like I said, you can do a lot with this one pattern. Double the pattern, flip one over and tape it together for a full pattern, or you can just cut on the fold. How about start off with a full pattern, cut off one shoulder for a one shoulder look. You can also cut off 2 of the shoulders, add a drawstring to the neck for a halter. And lastly, you can lower the neckline and add a zipper to create a vest for dudes and dudettes. The possibilities are endless, so I hope you learned a little bit of something and have fun with it.